Hey, welcome to the Icarus Idea. Just before we get started, we're really curious what you've learned from the episode, so feel free to leave a comment or a question or a DM or whatever. But for now, let's just get going with the episode. Welcome to another episode of the Icarus Idea. Today we are talking to a former TU Delft industrial design student. But I'm not going to do the introduction because that's Bram's job. Bram, please do your thing.
Yes, thanks for having me back. I'm still sitting at home, still doing these Skype recordings instead of meeting in real life. And when I look at Skype, I see two guys, Joris and our guest, and we're all wearing headphones. And first, Joris, I know you have brand new headphones.
Yeah, boy.
Do you like them so far?
Yeah, I do. Like the sound quality is really crappy, but the recording of the microphone, I hope that you notice, is pleasant, to say the least.
Well, mine don't really have a microphone, but I like the sound of it. But I think after today's episode, we all want to switch to new ones.
Ooh, boy.
And those are subscription-based, designed by our guest of today, Dorus Galama, from Gerrard Street. How are you doing, Dorus?
I'm very well, thanks.
Great.
Nice.
So before we get into what Gerrard Street is and how you get there and how it all works, I want to ask a question regarding audio, because I'm sort of an audiophile myself. For people who don't know that, I'm really picky when it comes to like speakers and headphones. So I want to know, what is your song that you always pick to test the quality of your speakers or your headphones?
I don't have a particular one. I tuned this model myself. I used a lot of different tunes, but the one I use most is Why Not from Michel Camilo.
All right.
Do you know it? It's
never heard of it.
He's a Latin jazz piano player, and he uses a lot of horns, and it's brilliant for tuning the upper mids and the highs of the headphone.
Cool. Nice. Well, we'll put him in the show notes then for our
We'll
listeners.
give him a shout out.
Yeah. So are you a bit of an audiophile yourself as well, or?
No, I wouldn't say an audiophile. I am a genuine music lover, so I really love music. I do like good sound a lot. Mm-hmm. I really value it, but I'm not an audiophile. I'm not someone who buys golden cables that are 5,000 euros per meter or that kind of stuff. There's a sort of limit to how far it goes. Yeah. So I don't know. It's sort of an advanced music lover.
Yeah.
Advanced music lover.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess then at the place you're working is the perfect place for you then, because you work at Gerrard Street. For the people that don't know what it is already, can you give a short explanation what you're doing or what your company is doing?
Yeah, sure. A couple of years ago, I founded Gerrard Street since we wanted to develop circular consumer electronics. And so we do this with headphones. We offer premium headphones. They are fully modular. And you can't buy them, but you pay per month. And you get a full service with it as well. So if any part fails, we'll just send you a new one. But we also retrieve the old modules. And we don't use any glue, so we can easily reuse a lot of the components inside.
Nice. Cool. I really like the how do you call it, circular idea that everything is recycled again. Was that was of course, I guess, your initial idea as well?
Yeah, that's the starting point.
Yeah, was headphones and also a starting point, or you first had other products which you also took into consideration?
That's a good question. No, it wasn't necessarily. So we started out, we wanted to make circular consumer electronics. And the reason for this was, I thought the circular economy was fascinating.
Yeah.
Because you combine a business model with sustainability. And I haven't seen that before. So I was particularly interested in this, and especially in consumer electronics, because I figured there's a lot of gains in there. A lot of consumer products are now thrown away because only one component fails. and all the others are perfectly fine. And these are also very valuable and scarce materials that are now just thrown away and even burned. So we figured this is the area with the highest potential, and maybe even the quick fixes. When we started with this mission, we quickly realized it's a lot better if you just pick a product, because then you have something to talk about. Because this mission is too big and vague, and a lot of people ask us, we are trying to raise money or trying to even to sell it to universities.
No,
so that's why when we decided, okay, let's just pick headphones, because we are music lovers. But second of all, we saw that headphones were on the rise, so there was a lot of growth in the market, and we figured it's a fairly simple piece of electronics. Yeah. I mean, it's not like a smartphone, you know, what Fairphone was doing at the time. And we figured that's way too complicated for just two guys who just graduated. So that's why we chose the headphone, but also we started validating this idea. Is there market demand for this? Can we actually make this work? And we did this keeping in mind that we might pivot to another. So actually that was our assumption at the time. We said we start with headphones, but probably we'll end up making some other sort of electronic circular.
You just said that you tuned the headphones yourself.
Exactly.
And that kind of triggered me, because when we called you to ask if you wanted to be a guest for the podcast, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna call Dorus. He's an industrial design engineer. He works at his own headphone company, so he probably designs those headphones. And then you were like, no, I don't design anything. I don't have anything to do with that. And so I was just wondering, you don't do the designing. Let's just say, first of all, why not? Why don't you do the designing yourself?
So when we started with our very first headphones model, this was sort of you call it an MVP, a minimal viable product. So that's a startup term for basically a pilot product, but meaning that you clearly recognize that it's not fully finished. This product we developed completely ourselves, so we did design that one. We also sourced the parts. It was a very interesting mix of designing, but also just working with what we could get. So I started with looking on Alibaba and talking to headphone manufacturers and just saying, what parts could I get from you off the shelf? I just want to make 1,000 headphones. You know, I will never reach the volumes and quantities that you need to start producing a headphone yourself. Mm-hmm. So that's how we started. We just started with picking a lot of stuff off the shelves and sort of fitting a sound module. Later on the process, it got more and more customized. So in the end, it was pretty much a fully customized headphone. We did design this one completely ourselves. And that's also where we stopped. So for the next model, we noticed the first model, it's called the Bird. I think that's the best that Tom and I can do. We are not really good designers. So we asked friends of ours who have a design studio in Rotterdam called Banana Gun, and these are really very good designers. So we asked them to come up with the next model, and they produced 3 concepts for us. Only the exterior, and it was so much better. It's sort of this model. I mean, it's developed a bit over time. They came up with yellow lines and with this sort of turtle shape. And from there on, we started developing the model ourselves again, or engineering it, but mostly the interior. So seeing how can we make this model modular again, and then there was a lot of design efforts put in by the factory as well. So and these are more of the typical engineering work and the audio engineering. And also developing the PCBs, etc., sourcing batteries, all that stuff is not done by us. So if I look at this model, if I'm fairly honest, there's hardly any design work I did, except indeed for the tuning of the sound. So calibrating the last sounds. That is my work.
Maybe I'm not that into sound, but you two are. What does the tuning of a headphone mean?
It's sort of equalizing actually. So the headphone produces. There's a lot of acoustics in there that make up for the sound profile, so to say. But then, since these are active, so they have a Bluetooth chip in it, and you can run software on it, you can also fine-tune this a bit, so you can polish the sound, basically, and even enhance some areas of the audio spectrum as well.
Check. You can sort of choose how much bass, how much treble, etc.
Yeah, exactly. It's basically the same as an equalizer.
Yeah. Are the users also able to change the equalizing settings? Or
not yet, but we have the latest Qualcomm chipset in this model, in the Prince, and we are able to update that one.
Cool.
Is that like something that a user could sort of get because it's subscription based? You just you get the update.
That's exactly what we want to do. So we notice these upgrades are, of course, a huge perk of the subscription model, but it's very complicated to have updates in hardware. Because you can imagine if there's a new headphone that comes out, we have to ship you a new one, we get the old one back, we have to see what can we reuse and what's not reused, and it's so much easier if you can update the headphones based on software. But in the past that wasn't feasible, at least not for us. And with this model, for the first time, we should be able to. There are, of course, still some barriers to overcome, so we will probably need to develop an app or something that can override settings, etc. So we're not there yet, but at least this headphone has this potential.
I was wondering if that was... Is this what you expected you would do when you started industrial design engineering, let's say 9 years ago?
No, definitely not. I think when I started industrial design engineering following my brother, who's a half brother. Not sure if that's the correct word, but so he's 15 years older. So he had already finished industrial design engineering, and back then he was a product designer. So he mainly designed furniture, had his own company. And that was sort of my role model when I started doing industrial design. So I was pretty much focused at product design, and also this was what I pictured for myself, how I saw the future, that I would be designing products. And that changed at some point. So I think in my third year I did a minor called Writing a Business Plan at JS Delft, which is the incubator of the Delft University of Technology. And that's where we learned how to start up a business. And I enrolled in this course basically because some friends of mine enrolled. And I thought, if I want to be a product designer, it might be wise to also understand a bit about the business. But I had no intention of starting my own business. My friends had, and I just followed them because I figured, this looks like a smart course. But during this course, all these entrepreneurs were invited. And that was the cool part of the course. So it wasn't about the theory that we learned. It was at every course. I think it was 1 day a week. At the end, they invited an entrepreneur who would talk about his startup and his business and his failures, and who would just speak with so much passion about their projects. And that's how I turned around, and from then on, I figured this is what I want to do. I want to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's really cool. And now you have your own product actually on the market. Do you sometimes see people with your headphones? Running around.
Yeah, especially in public transportation, I see them a lot. Or a lot is but I do see them. Yeah.
Have you ever had the feeling to come up to them and say, "The thing that you're wearing, that's mine"?
Yeah, sometimes, especially in the beginning, because it's very valuable to meet your customers and to talk to them. I also had it the other way around when the boss was coming out and I already had the product samples that I was testing out. I was approached by customers who saw me in a train, who recognized the boss. And who started talking to me. They immediately understood I must be the founder or someone that there must be something, some reason why I have the boss and they haven't yet.
Oh, that's pretty crazy. I believe you did some crowdfunding. And I'm not sure if that went always as successful as you wanted it to be. Like, maybe tell us about that, or do you feel like you made any other failures that you'd like to share?
The crowdfunding, the first one was definitely a success. And the second one was also a success, but it wasn't as big as we hoped. But with the first one, we even were nominated, or we won a prize, I think, for top 3 best crowdfunding campaigns of that year. Cool. Because we had a lot of traction, and a lot of reach, especially. We were picked up in virtually any newspaper. We were on TV, and we subscribed almost 400 users, which was, I think that's the reason why we were nominated for this. That was I think one of the highest scores of that year for a Dutch crowdfunding campaign, so not for an international one. It's really cool to do a crowdfunding. It's also it's a lot of work. I think it's usually underestimated. So I'm being called for advice once in a while by other entrepreneurs who want to launch a crowdfunding campaign, and I remember myself as well thinking in the beginning that it's just you make a cool video, you upload a story, and that's it. And then you sit back and wait. It's real. That's really not the case. It's a campaign. So you are campaigning, and that means you're doing a lot of pre-work. So rule of thumb is that you should have between 35 and 50% of the backers that you want to have. You should have them in the pre-order campaign already before launching the crowdfunding campaign. Actually, most of them make sure that they already have 100% before starting the campaign. The same goes for if you want to use ambassadors, if you want to use PRs. The entire campaign has to be thought out before launching the campaign. And then once you're in it, it's just on social media, answering questions, chasing down the press. I remember the second one I was together with Tom, and we had, 180 journalists to call. So we just divided the list and started calling, and we spent days just because, of course, a lot don't have the time or they don't pick up immediately. So we really spent days only calling people, and it's a lot of work.
But what about did you have any other real failures where you think, whoa, I wish I'd done that differently?
Yeah, we have a lot, but I'm thinking, what's the biggest fuck up that we... So one sort of a crisis was where we worked together with a financial expert. He was our accountant or our bookkeeper. And
this sounds like it's going the wrong way, though.
Yeah, it is. He was pretty expensive as well. So because we thought, let's do this right. So he was one of the more expensive guys. He was recommended by someone from the accelerator. So we thought he was legit. And we had a coach back then as well that we were in regular contact with. And at some point, she was pressing us, is your annual report already deposited at the Chamber of Commerce? And we thought it was. But at some point, we figured out it wasn't. So we started calling this guy, and we asked him, why, what's the matter? And he said, no, it's there's no worries. You can just ask for for a delay, or you can ask to postpone it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So we said, okay, that is fine. But when we talked to our coach again, she said, no, that's not true. There's a limit. You can only postpone it so much.
No.
Only 12 months, and you have passed the limit now. And she said, you guys are basically this is not right. If someone lies to you about this and doesn't do his work, that's not the end of it. There's more going on. And so we found out that he hadn't done any administration whatsoever. No. And I won't go into details, but it's solid to say that we were even worse was that I recommended him to a friend of mine as well.
Oh no!
And he started working for this friend as well. So this was a clear fuck up. That's I think that was one of the biggest fuck ups. And then I'm thinking we have a lot of small fuck ups, you know.
Maybe not say fuck ups anymore, because we have to edit fuck ups every time we say it out of the.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think we can say.
Oh, you do a peep.
Yeah, we do
screw ups. We do screw up.
Yeah.
Right.
We messed up, lads.
We messed up. Yeah, we up, yeah.
The thing that I thought, Dorus, I heard you say in an interview with. It was a funny name. I have it here. Rotterdamse jongensdromen.
Yeah.
I heard you say that part of what you're trying to do is show that the concept of subscription-based service works.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of interested, like, how do you make this work?
When starting up, there are a lot of assumptions in this business model, and that made it difficult to predict. But we do know that margins are rather high on electronics, especially on headphones. So we figured out we had a business model that was full of assumptions, but we knew that there was probably enough margin. And of course, you are validating this on the go. So now I can pretty stably predict the amount of returns that I get, the amount of repairs. And the cool thing is, if we get a return, I can reuse it. So it's an asset that I can deploy again, usually. So for us, actually, the biggest problem is the acquisition cost. So acquiring a customer now, I have to spend money on advertising. And that's money, of course, that I can't retrieve again. And so if you become my customer, if I would sell the headphone to you, then let's say I would spend 50 euros on Facebook ads. You become my customer, you buy the headphone for 250 euros, and I make a margin on it. And the day you buy the headphones, I have my margin on my bank account, and I can use it to grow again. That's the key challenge and the difficulty of having a subscription model. You can't fund your own growth. That's an enormous challenge for us to overcome.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like the first month, your customer pays 750. So you need like a lot of months before you even break even, let alone
that's true.
Be able to pay 50 euros.
But still, so we know that our customers stay for a very long time. On average, they stay over 3 years. And so we know that our products are profitable. And actually, so it has all to do with pre-financing. Yeah. And that's why it's so important, especially I think if you're doing a subscription model, it's even more important that you really understand the key drivers of your business model, and you do understand financial models.
Yeah.
Because it's just too risky. You can't just go with it on the fly. You need that starting up money, so to say.
Yeah, definitely. And you also have to, I mean, you need to know which metrics to check, and you need to know when you are in trouble and when not.
Bram, final question. We have 5 minutes left.
The final one. Earlier on, we talked a bit about it. Well, you have now, I guess, a large group of people that are using your headphones, and they're really positive about it. If I look into the reviews, But how do you maintain your brand and find new people willing to get a subscription? Do you only use like ads, or do you also try other ways?
We try a lot of different things, and this is I think this is at the moment our main challenge as well. Building a brand is not easy. We were warned about this also. It's pretty challenging to develop your own product, start developing your own brand as well, selling it directly by yourself, and then also having this business model that makes everything even more difficult. And building a brand definitely is. I mean, the way it's usually done is just spend an awful lot of money, which we don't have. So we do it. In the beginning, we had a lot of free publicity. We use online marketing, especially Facebook marketing, a lot, and we are working together with ambassadors. And I think the last one it's the coolest for building a brand. So we are launching a collaboration with Styx, for the Vorm Opgezwollen.
Oh, cool!
So that's really cool. He will get his own signature headphone that can also be ordered by our clients, so they can have the Stigmatic headphone. So that's really cool. And so we are talking to other parties as well to do these kind of collaborations. And I must say also, when we started this, there was of course a lot of rumor about circular economy, but it wasn't so much mainstream. No. I think the word circular economy has never been mainstream. It still isn't. But also this general mindset of not throwing everything in the garbage. I mean, sure, people were thinking about it, but I do have a feeling that this trend is really pursuing, and that it's easier for us now to find ambassadors. Also, it almost seems like everyone who is our generation or younger is thinking about this, and is also willing to participate and to promote this.
That's kind of nice.
That's really helpful.
I saw recently. I was checking my Instagram, and I saw, I think, a radio DJ on his story also posting things that he received your headphones. So it's also we're also working with Sublime. And what's his name? Sander Hogendoorn. Yeah, you mean him? From 3FM. Yeah. He also has our headphone now. Cool.
Damn.
Yeah, he really liked it as well, so that's cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's wrap it up with that, maybe, because we on 1 minute talked the full 1.5 hours. So
nice.
Again, our condolences to Jens, the editor.
We have to listen it to ourselves as well.
Yeah.
To get it true.
Doris, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the advice.
You're welcome.
Is there anything you want to shout out? To say we got 30 seconds left, so do you think? Anything you want to shout out right now?
You mean to the audience, or do you mean to promote our own headphones?
No, just whatever you want to say.
Do I have something to say to designers? I think my main advice to these designers is to challenge yourself once in a while and think, when designing a product, think, how much money do I have in the bank? Would I invest this all in trying to sell this product? Because I do think thinking about your product in this way really makes your design better. What answers would I need before I feel comfortable enough to spend all my savings on this product? What is it that I would want to see answered before that? Those are the questions that really matter, I think, if you want to have a killer product, that's what you need.
Well, on that, so to speak, bombshell, let's end it. Once again, thank you, the listener. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any thoughts, any ideas, any products that you want to sell, leave them in the comments and tell us if you want to spend all your money on it.
In the meantime, check out Gerrard Street as well.
Maybe see if you can get yourself some headphones.
Yeah.
Check out the new headphones. Yeah.
Check out.
What's the song again? I forgot.
Ooh,
It's
the saxophone
Why Not
song.
from Michel Camilo.
Yeah. Alright, get yourself some Gerrard Street headphones and listen to Why Not by who, Camilo?
Michel
Michel Camilo.
Camilo. It's
Nice.
Camilo. Or maybe... No, it's one L. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
it.
And Folk by Madonna is the one that I always heard. So
That's also
That's a whole nother
that's a very
story.
good record.